The Rambling Geordie.
Welcome back, everyone. Anthony Fauci's in a little bit of hot water, isn't he? The man who told the whole world what to do for 3 years sat in front of the United States Senate yesterday and refused to answer a single proper question. Over 100 times he hid behind the Fifth Amendment. Now, this is the same bloke who used to wag his finger at the rest of us. Just shut up and lawyer up in front of the whole world. Now, if that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about the guy, I don't know what will.
And my decades-long record of cooperating with Congress, under the advice of my attorneys, I will invoke my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution to refrain from answering your questions. Thank you.
We will now begin a round of questioning. Dr. Fauci, your testimony today is compelled by a lawful subpoena. As you know, it's a crime under 18 U.S.C. Section 1001 to knowingly make a material false statement.
All right, so yesterday, 29th of July, Fauci was dragged in front of Rand Paul's Senate committee. Now, Paul's been after him for years over the COVID origins, gain-of-function research and the whole pandemic response. What did we get? Well, not answers. Not even the usual spin. Just the same line over and over. On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment. More than 100 times. Now let's talk about the Biden pardon first of all, right? Because this is just pure fucking gold, this. Just before he left office in January 2025, Joe Biden handed Fauci a full, preemptive presidential pardon covering anything related to his government work from 2014 right through to the end of Biden's term. A get-out-of-jail-free card for past actions. And still Fauci takes the fifth. That tells you the pardon might cover the old stuff, but it doesn't protect him if he opens his mouth today and contradicts himself under oath. One wrong word and it's fresh perjury. That's why he stayed silent. I mean, why would an innocent man need that kind of protection? Look, right, from the stance of this channel, and I've been saying this for years, Fauci's never been straight with the public. He has the list of the big ones that myself and critics have hammered him on for ages. He repeatedly told Congress the NIH never funded gain-of-function research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Documents, emails, and EcoHealth Alliance records show funding went to work that many scientists class as exactly that. He helped push the proximal origin paper and publicly treated the lab leak theory as a conspiracy theory early on, while private communications showed scientists were far more concerned about a lab origin than they let on. Early on he said masks weren't needed for the public, then flipped hard and pushed them hard. Same with natural immunity. Downplayed it relative to vaccine immunity, even when data suggested otherwise. Claims about vaccines stopping transmission that didn't hold up once the data came in. The whole handling of the origins itself. Funding links to the Wuhan lab, the sudden coordinated messaging, and the refusal to properly investigate the lab leak possibility while it was still fresh. Now look, none of that's new, okay? What's new is that when finally put under some proper pressure, with the risk of actual consequences, he chose silence over explanation. That's why he took the fifth. Not because Rand Paul is unhinged, which are Fauci's own words, because answering truthfully under oath, with all the emails and documents now public, risks contradicting previous sworn statements. Silence protects them better than words. And while we're on the subject of accountability, what about our own lot over here? Chris Whitty was England's chief medical officer through the whole thing. Lockdowns, school closures, vaccine rollout messaging, the lot. The UK COVID inquiries had him in, but it's been a soft affair compared to what just happened to Washington. Now, if American lawmakers can finally put Fauci under the microscope and force him to plead the fifth, why shouldn't Westminster do the same with Whitty and the rest of the sage crowd? It was the same pandemic, same sweeping powers over people's lives, same questions about what was known, what was said, and what was covered up. Now, if we're serious about learning lessons, he should be next in the queue for proper hard questioning, not more carefully managed inquiry sessions. And yes, I'm calling on you as well, Boris Johnson. Look, I'm not saying every decision in the pandemic was an easy one. Science does change. Mistakes get made. But there's a massive difference between honest error and a pattern of statements that later don't stack up, followed by legal protection and then total silence when the hard questions arrive. Fauci spent years as a face of authority. Yesterday, he spent 3 hours as a man who couldn't answer. The Biden pardon was supposed to put a lid on it. Instead, it's highlighted how carefully the ground was prepared. And if the Americans can finally get this far, I think the least we can do in Britain is demand the same level of scrutiny for the same people who locked us down and told us what to think. Comment below, do you think Whitty and the rest should face the same music? Let us know in the comments, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. And I'll catch you all later. Cheers.
Don't be daft, man.